Hello, this is the video for 12-8 day 2. Yes, we are doing day 2 first before day 1. So don't do day 1 first, otherwise you'll be confused. So what we're looking at today is the longest formula that you'll ever use probably in your whole life. This is the quadratic formula. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c, all divided by 2 times a. So that's negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. If we were in class, this is what we were going to sing. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. It goes along with Pop Goes the Weasel. So anyway, I put another video on Schoology, which is my favorite version of the song. It's a class doing it, so you can watch it if you want to. If not, that's fine too. You just need to know how to use this formula. Normally I would have you memorize that formula by singing it along to Pop Goes the Weasel. Anyway, so what we need to do first is we need to make sure that we identify our a value, our b value, and our c value. So our a value is the number that goes in front of the x squared, our b value is the number that goes in front of the x, and our c value is our plus or minus. So our a value here is 2, our b value here is negative 5, and our c value is 17. If it's a minus sign, it's going to be a negative. If it's a plus sign, it's going to be a positive. In this middle one, we have a negative 4 out in front of the x squared, so that's our a value. We don't have anything written there in front of the x, so that's really a 1 in front of the x. So our b value is 1. Our c value, it's a minus 12, so this is going to be a negative 12. For the third one, we have a negative x squared. That's really negative 1x squared. So our a value is negative 1. Our b value is 2. Our c value is negative 1 again. That's very, very important to do. In Class Kick, you'll have to identify each of those as well. So here's what the problems look like. So they look like it on Class Kick as well. First thing you want to do is identify your a, b, and c. Your a value is in front of the x squared, so our a value this time is a 3. Our b value, we have a minus 11, so this is going to be negative 11. Our c value is a minus 2, so that's going to be negative 2. Now what you want to do is you want to plug these into this formula where they belong. So you're always going to have an x equals, and then you're going to have your big long divided by line. So our formula says negative b. Now that's really negative 1 times whatever our b value is. So this is really negative of negative 11. So that's how I'm going to write it, negative of negative 11. That's really negative 1 times negative 11 when we get to it later on. We still have our plus or minus. Then we have our big square root. We have b squared. Our b value is negative 11. So I have negative 11 squared. Make sure that you put that inside parentheses. Minus 4. That minus 4 is always there. Times your a value, which is 3. Times our c value, which is negative 2. On Class Kick, you're going to have to fill all this in the formula. And it's all divided by 2 times a. So instead of 2 times a, I'm going to say 2 times 3. In Class Kick, you'll have to type in your a, b's, and c's where they belong. Now we're going to factor it down a little bit and figure out what exactly is going on here. In this lesson, we're going to do it in radical form. We're just going to leave our answers in radical form. In the next lesson, in the day 1 lesson, we're going to figure them out as decimals. But today we're just going to leave them as radicals. Negative of negative 11. A negative of a negative is really a positive. So that's really positive 11. Plus or minus the square root. Negative 11 squared is negative 11 times negative 11, which is 121. 4 times 3 times negative 2. Or you can think of it as negative 4 times 3 times negative 2. So negative 4 times 3 times negative 2. This would be negative 12. Negative 12 times negative 2 is a positive 24. So I'm going to write plus 24. And that's all over 2 times 3, which is 6. I can still factor this, simplify it a little bit. 121 plus 24. 121 plus 24 is 145. So I'm going to have 11 plus or minus the square root of 145 all over 6. This is how you're going to leave your answers for all the questions today. You're just going to work it down and simplify it until you can't go any farther. During the normal school year, we take this and simplify it a little bit even more. But for today's lesson, we're just going to leave it how it is. So let's do another one. Our a value is the number in front of your x. There's really a 1 there, so our a value is 1. Our b value is -7. Our c value is 11. This always goes in order A, B, C. So for our formula, x equals -b, so negative of -7, which is really a +7. Then we have our square root. B squared. Instead of b squared, I'm going to have -7 squared. -4 times a, our a value is 1, times our c value, which is 11, all over 2 times a, which is 2 times 1. I'm going to take that and simplify it down. The negative of -7 is a +7, plus or minus. -7 squared is -7 times -7, which is +49. -4 times 1 times 11 is -44. All over 2 times 1, which is 2. We can simplify it even more. 7 plus or minus the square root. When you subtract, you have a 5 all over 2. We're just going to leave our answer in radical form like that. When we take a look at the next one, our -2 is our a value, our -8 is our b value, and our +1 is our c value. So when we go to put it in, we're going to have x equals the negative of -b, so negative of -8, plus or minus the square root of b squared. B is -8, so we have -8 squared, minus 4 times a, which is -2, times c, which is 1. All over 2 times -2 as our a value. The negative of -8 is a +8, plus or minus. -8 squared is -8 times -8, which is 64. -4 times -2 times 1 is a +8, so I'm going to write +8, all over -4. 64 plus 8 is 72, so I really have 8 plus or minus 72 all over -4. And that is our final answer. We're going to do 2 more. Sometimes you're not going to have x's, you might have m's or something like that. Our 1 is in front of our m squared, so that's our a value. Our b value is a +4. Our c value is a 2. So we have x equals -b. Our b value is 4. Now be careful, this is the first one where we had a positive b value. So that's just going to be -4. Because our b value is a +4. B squared, which is 4 squared, minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is 2, all over 2 times, all over 2 times 1, which is our a value. Take and simplify it even more, so we have -4 plus or minus. 4 squared is 16. -4 times 1 times 2 is -8, so I'm going to write -8 all over 2. 16 minus 8 is 8, so I really have -4 plus or minus radical 8 over 2, and that is our answer. I would highly, this is our last one, I'd highly encourage you to pause the video right here and try this one on your own. We have x squared minus 6x minus 3 equals 0. So I already have this one done. Our a value is 1, our b value is -6, our c value is -3. Subbing them in, so we have -b, so negative of -6, which is really +6, plus or minus, we're sticking in a -6 for the b, squared minus 4 times 1 times -3, all over 2 times 1. Negative 6 squared is 36. Negative 4 times 1 times negative 3 is a positive 12. 36 plus 12 is 48. 2 times 1 is 2. So we end up with 6 plus or minus the square root of 48 all over 2. Go ahead and try the 12 class kid questions.